What is up, everyone? Welcome to a special Saturday edition of That Hobby Show. And with me, as always, Houston from Chasin The Graph. What is up, my friend?
What's going on, man? How are you doing?
Tired. One of my kids is going with me to Texas for the road trip to Texas. So drove up to Phoenix, watched my other son's flag football game, picked up the kiddo, drove back here. So we're leg one of the trip is done. But yeah, and then I still got to pack and get the cards ready, put in the binders and everything. But yeah, so that is why we are doing this on Saturday instead of our usual Sunday, because hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be getting autographs tomorrow at a baseball game. So we'll see how that goes. But I totally did not realize when you suggested this Saturday today that one of the biggest fights of the year is tonight, and I totally forgot about it. The Conor McGregor fight.
Yeah, I was thinking it was either Friday or Saturday, but I didn't feel like doing anything at all yesterday. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I've got my second cold within I've never in my life had two colds within a month, and this is my second one within a month, and it's just like kicked my ass. And I just knew, I was like, just give me like an extra day to just like go to bed at like 8 o'clock, and we'll try Saturday.
Yeah, right. And then for everybody that's been watching along with the show, you've been doing some work with American Lucha Wrestling, and tonight's guest is Josh Bear. He is a referee for ALW, and he shall be joining us shortly. We're just working on some technical difficulties, but yeah, he'll be joining us soon. So in the meantime, what has been going on in the hobby world for you?
Nothing really. I haven't. I went like 3 weeks to a month without posting anything for sale. Just trying to take a step back and not really buying anything, not really posting anything for sale, because like we've touched on a couple of times, just even shipping one thing in a plain white envelope is it's a process. You've got to penny sleeve it, top load it, put the painter's tape on it, put it in whatever you could possibly put it in to protect it that will still be covered under a 75-cent stamp, and then put it, address it, put it in the mail or whatever. So, and I've been listing stuff for sale for the last like 2 weeks, and I haven't sold a damn thing. I've sold like two, maybe three cards in the last 2 weeks, and I'm like frantically like double checking eBay and comps to make sure I'm right there at them or below them. And there's one card I've lowered the price on 6 times and no interest whatsoever.
Is it the autograph, Jake Bowers?
That's one of them, and the Brett Gardner Independence Parallel out of 76. I've lowered the price on both of those 5 or 6 times and nothing. So I'm just like, here we are.
Yeah, I listed a few the other day, didn't get any bites. So I'll probably go back and delete everything. But yeah, tonight it's one of my favorite threads on Twitter, sales threads from Hive Cards. He does a Mr. Irrelevant autograph thread. So I'll be putting, I don't know, I say it now, but I want to try and put some more of my duplicate autographs that I have on there, and maybe make a little extra gas money, because yeah, we're driving 1,000 miles one way, so yeah, we're going to be burning through some petrol. So yeah, but yeah, I've been trying to sell some cards, and yeah, I'm getting nothing. I think they're fairly priced, but it seems like everybody wants them like at half of comps and stuff.
Yeah.
Or it's weird, because then you see other people that are selling, and they're more, I guess, the more well-known or popular and those guys, I mean, they have no problem selling them at all. And then what I do is like, I'm like, well, I seen 5 people wanted to claim that card. I have the same card. Why don't I try and sell it? And nobody wants it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
it's
then
weird how that happens.
and then when you comment on somebody else's thread, it's like, hey, if you're looking for one, I got one. People are like, oh my God, how dare you snipe that? Or,
Yeah. Yeah, I've been guilty of doing that before. I actually caught myself doing it and apologized because you start replying and then you're like you get caught up in it and then you remember, oh shit, this isn't my thread. So, yeah, I've definitely done that before. So, have you have you?
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that happened to me on Facebook a couple of times because posts weren't really clear about them selling cards, and it would make it seem like they were looking for cards. And so I posted like 3 or 4 on a thread. I was like, so and so $5, so and so 25. And then like 4 people commented on it. I was like, what kind of dickhead goes on somebody else's sales thread to try to sell stuff? And I was like, to be honest with you, the post wasn't that clear. I didn't read all the way through it, so that's kind of on both of us. So I'll delete it and we'll just call it a day.
Yeah, yeah, right. Uh, Anything else going on hobby wise for you? Are you still working on your what was it 1991 score set?
Yeah, I haven't did any TTMs in a while. Like
No.
so slack, so put it off, so like haven't even touched it. And every time, like at least once a week, I tell myself like I'm gonna, write out like 4 or 5 tonight and send it out, and that never happens.
No. Yeah, you'll have to get on it though. I believe next month stamps are going up. I want to say it's 3 cents a stamp. So I need to buy my rolls of stamps and save me a couple bucks. Yeah, I gotta do that once I get back from the road trip. But yeah, I haven't been working on my set either. I've just been random, like anybody that I see on Facebook or Twitter that has a success, then I'll write that person. I've been more reactive than proactive, I guess.
Yeah,
So
makes sense.
yeah, yeah. But so since this, I titled this episode "Wrestling with That Hobby Show." What do you have coming up in the pipeline with American Lucha Wrestling?
We were gonna work with a guy this week, but his girlfriend actually had a death in her family, so they were in Kentucky. And with him being in Kentucky and this cold hit me again, we were just like, let's chill out for a week and we'll pick back up next week. They're having an event tomorrow night that we're gonna go to, and it's all ALW talent. There's nobody from any like outside promotions that they booked in for matches, so it's kind of like a ALW showcase. So that one's going to be really exciting because a lot of the talent that we see every other Saturday is going to all be there tomorrow night. And Cool J, who I interviewed, Tyler X, who we were supposed to interview this past week, but we'll definitely work something out with him. And we don't want it to just be like, okay, sit down, ask question, answer questions, we're done. We want it to be like somewhat in the wrestler's favor of what they can do or what they're a part of or who they are. This is essentially what we're trying to do with them is promote them, and hopefully somebody sees them and what they can do, and they at least want to learn a little more about them, or maybe book them to their promotion for a match or two. So we kind of have been coming up with ideas on the fly of how to highlight these individuals. And obviously, with the one I did 2 weeks ago, the guy was, he has a very psychotic and demonic gimmick. So he can't, there's no way he can just sit in a ring and be like,
Hey,
My
what's up, buddy?
Yeah, like my favorite flower is a daisy, and I like the color blue.
Yeah,
And so, we went with that, and we came up with everything that you've seen in the video that night in like an hour and a half's time. And so with Cool J, he's got his, a lot of the independent wrestlers they have songs basically that are copyrighted that they play all over the radio and is all over YouTube. But with Cool J, he had his own music that was mixed and made just for him, his own entrance music. So that's why we did his entrance as the beginning of the interview, is because that is his music, and that's
yeah,
his entrance is a big part of his gimmick, because not every wrestler has the lights turned out, like the lights turned off, and then the strobes come on, and then they come out to their own music. Not an independent anyway.
yeah,
And so, not I don't know about the song. I haven't found out yet if it was made for just him and Tyler X, but I know his actual walkout. He's got some cool, I guess, like hand gestures and stuff that he does when he comes out that are very unique. Because I think it was Jeff Hardy. They had this when they
yeah,
came out and everything. He's got something like that, and it's very theatrical when he comes out. So I think I'm gonna suggest trying to work that angle in to lead up to the interview, basically.
yeah. It's good for the talent too. That way, it helps with the character development. Because I mean, if you're going to try and cut a promo and stuff, you're going to have to stay in character, and then it pretty much the more it's like practice makes perfect. The more you're in character, the more comfortable you're going to be as that character. So I mean, it can only help those guys.
Exactly, and that's really all this is. This isn't necessarily about me, or I mean, it's definitely about American Lucha Wrestling to an extent, but it's more about the talent and those guys, because a lot of independent promotions, the guys that wrestle, no one gets paid other than maybe like the co-main event and the main event. And if those guys that come out first, second, or third match of the night, that they do get paid, it's like 25 or $30, something like that. And then you've got a lot of these guys. I can't think of his name, but he wrestled in WCW, and he's doing a lot of independent stuff. This was years ago. I can't think of his name now to save my life. I just seen it today too. But he wrestled in WCW, was on there a lot, not just like a jobber, basically just somebody that just gets paid to get beat up and lose all the time.
Yeah,
Um, and he's been doing a lot of independent stuff, and I can only imagine he probably doesn't do it for less than like 300 or 400 bucks a night. And so, if you want to get somebody like that, like, you can really promote that. Hey, we've got so and so from WCW coming tonight, and they might have had to pay him and told three or four other guys like, hey, we got so and so coming. We probably can't really get you in tonight, like as far as like paying them, So free exposure is really all they got.
yeah. I never even thought about that. You just assume that everybody gets paid, whether or not it's a significant amount or not. You just think, oh yeah, everybody's getting some kind of money type thing. But maybe they hook them up at the snack bar or something. But
Yeah.
so since you've been involved with ALW for what, about 2 months?
Yep. Literally.
Have you noticed an increase as far as fans?
Yeah. It's so funny. They had an event. I think it was the last one we went to. It was a very, very big crowd, and I'm not gonna say any names because I don't even. One of the guys wrestlers I was talking to the night before, he was like, I don't even know who this guy is in the main event. Like, he's like, I've never heard him from, and this guy's been in independent wrestling for, I think, a total of like 11 years. And so I was like, whatever, it's wrestling. I'm, helping these guys out. So, and the main reason we went that night because Cool J and the Caribbean Tiger were having their chairs match,
Mhm.
but it was super packed in there, and they have an intermission, and of course you have your 3 or 4 best matches after intermission. And the guy that I met at Don's visitation that has set all this up, he kind of made me nervous a little bit because we were talking, and my granddad was there with us because my granddad actually knows this guy that I met at Don's funeral, and they
Oh,
go way back. Yeah, and they talk mad shit to each other about whooping each other's ass and stuff like that. But anyway, my granddad said something to him about my grandson's good or something like that. And he was like, he is, man. He's like, you see all them asses in them seats out there? He was like, that's because of him. He's like, this guy has helped this organization a lot. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, don't put that on me. It's cool that there was a lot of people there. And I actually told them, I was like, I'm more excited about the people, like the crowd that's here than I really necessarily am about the wrestling. But for him to say that, it was so weird. And I just still don't think I've taken it like as a compliment, I
yeah.
guess, because I do want to help them. And we don't have anything here in Burlington but a putt in a movie theater, and we have a speedway too.
Sock puppets.
We do. We have the sock puppets, and
Yeah.
it's like I've explained to them. Those are all weather dependent. ALW is not. They can wrestle in the snow, sleet, rain, whatever. And so I'm like almost paranoid that they're gonna like shut down, go bankrupt, or something like that. And so I'm like have this like weird like tick where I want to do everything I can to help them. And for them to say, or for this guy to say that those people were there because of me and that I'm putting the word out there, it's like, I'd love to think that I'm the reason, but I don't know that. I don't think I'll give myself that credit. But yeah, definitely, there has been a little bit of an uptick in attendance in the last 8 weeks that I've seen.
It's kind of a crazy coincidence then.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
call it that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, hell, I think the sock puppets are missing out on a good promotion wrestling at the sock puppets game, especially if they can get Mick Foley and Mr. Sacco to come to Burlington. And because I've seen that they've reached out to him on Twitter. I have not followed the thread if he's actually done it, but it's actually I've seen it a lot at minor league baseball stadiums. Is they'll put on wrestling matches. They'll put the ring out in center field and then let the wrestlers have at it. I don't know. I think it'd be a pretty cool thing to do. I don't really know how long it takes for the ring to get set up after the game, but you could definitely have some fun with that. So
Yeah, and if they have a um like an away game one night, that's another way to put some asses in the seats is, do it on an away night, have them come set the ring up early, have an event start at like 6:30, and you just kind of sit in the stands and watch it happen. That's what we did years ago. My granddad took us to a wrestling event they were having when they were the Indians, and Abdullah the Butcher was there, who was really popular in like I think
yeah,
like the late '70s and early '80s,
yeah,
and he dug a guy's forehead open with a fork.
nice, nice.
Yeah. And so yeah, and they just put it like right there, just in between like the pitcher's mound and home plate on that little bit of grass right there. And they weren't like so far away from you in the outfield that they were just like little ants running around out there, but they were close enough to you that it was good live fun, and it's
Yeah,
outside, and the sock puppets could benefit from it greatly. I agree with you.
definitely, definitely. Or they could do since I'm an '80s baby. I don't know if you remember Rock and Wrestling. Throw a concert, have a wrestling match. Like, yeah, yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. But yeah,
The Hickory Crawdads, they're all the time having a band like after a game or before a game, and I don't necessarily think that's kind of like a minor league standard, but at least probably 3 to 4 times a season they'll have a band out there.
oh really?
Yeah,
Nice, nice. I know who is it? Reading. I believe they have an all mascot band. where it's mascots going to town on some instruments. It's pretty entertaining to watch. But I want to say that it's Reading, the Fighting Phils.
I'd pay to see an all mascot band.
Yeah. Well, I think you know what? You pay for the game, but the band is free. So
Oh,
it's a bonus.
that's a
Yeah. But sorry. Yeah, I don't think Josh is it.
yeah. It
Yeah.
seems kind of MIA.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to join us, so I will rename the episode
Yeah.
because I was advertising him showing up, but
Yeah.
yeah. So you said tomorrow is the ALW showcase.
Yeah. Yeah. Tomorrow's doors open at 6. Event starts at 6:30. And me and my wife are making jokes because they've been doing it on Saturdays, but it's on Sunday. It's like, oh, not on a school night.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Uh, so do they advertise the matches beforehand? Do you even know who's going to be wrestling, or is there a title on the line, or
Um, you, it's very hit and miss because they will advertise who's going to be there, but not necessarily who's wrestling who. Because if you go look at the, I guess, promo flyer for the one tomorrow night, it's got like 6 or 7 athletes on there, and they're like spread out towards the back and then closer to the front. And it doesn't say like Cool J versus Caribbean Tiger or anything like that. So you know who's going to be there, not necessarily who's wrestling against who. But the last event that they had, they definitely did like Jay Malachi versus Myron Reed or who was it? Shane Helms versus Yellow Man or something like that. But
Shane Helms was there?
no, it was God.
Oh,
It was
oh,
something. And I say that because the dude is dresses in green and black and has like green and black face paint, so it makes
like
me think of that Hurricane.
oh, okay.
I can't think of his name now though.
uh,
But
so how was the chairs match?
it was really, really good. It didn't go quite as long as I thought it would, considering this was like over like 3 or 4 shows where they had been attacking each other.
Yeah.
But the the ending of it after the match was over, Cool J won. He actually takes some yellow caution tape and ties the Caribbean Tiger to the chair with the yellow caution tape and does a frog splash onto him and like gets up and just gets hype again, goes up, does a second frog splash, and then he's like, like getting hype again, and he's like, nah, one more, and then does a third frog splash. And the chairs there are just like old, like cafeteria chairs. And so before that match started, me and my wife were like, we're going to go stand up in the back because our ass is hurt.
Yeah.
So
So they're
we
not foldable?
no. The ones that in the ring were, but not the ones that we were, not the one the crowd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so we're literally my back's up against the wall. I posted a couple of videos of the match, and literally my back's up against the wall in the very back. And so the match starts, and it's like just one of those things like bell doesn't even ring as soon as the light comes on, they just start attacking each other. They get out of the ring and they go down was our left side in between the chairs and the wall, and they're beating the crap out of each other. And they wind up, both of them wind up like 3 feet beside me and my wife. And we're just like, how did we get ourselves into this? And there's a little doorway with a curtain that you go through, and it leads to like the concession stand and the like gimmick table where the wrestlers hang out afterwards if you want to take a picture. And so we're slowly like sliding up against this doorway where the curtain is, and me and her both duck out to where that curtain, like to go down toward the concession area because they're not coming back there. They're not going to do anything back there. And they about trample me and her going out to the concession area, and they're beating the crap out of each other out there. And then they come back in, and it was like the first like 3.5, 4 minutes of the match, they weren't in the ring at all. And it's just like, we're all the way back here. Like, how did we get in this position?
I think they were probably looking for you, man.
Might have been like Cool J might have been like, I'm gonna give my man a show real quick, and
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
and I look over, my wife's just like,
I've actually had something like that, very similar, happen. York, Pennsylvania, ECW. It was Bam Bam Bigelow versus Taz. And these dudes went out into the stands, and we were on the foldable chairs. And I don't care what anybody says that wrestling is fake. Bullshit. These dudes were hitting, like, beating the shit out of each other, man. It was like it was like a near death experience. I was terrified and I wanted more, but I was scared shitless to get close to him. It was like, oh, this is so awesome, Mona. And it was yeah, dude. I cannot explain the feeling, and then everybody's yelling ECW and just chasing them. But when you're surrounded by that many people, there's no way to fake it. They were landing, and yeah, it was crazy. I was just so, yeah, man. I can't explain it. I think it's what I don't know, like a drug addict getting their fix. It was insane. But and then one of the memories is I'm running after the wrestlers, and I look back and my mom's just picking up the chairs and
yeah.
order, and I'm chasing Bam Bam and Taz, man. But yeah, it was pretty badass. I wish I remembered more of that night, but yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that literally, like, in the moment, you like don't really realize that these people are beating the shit out of each other 2 feet away from you. And then, like, once it's over with or whatever, you're like, oh my God, like, they were just like right here and they were like wrecking each other. And it just kind of like, it just kind of sits with you for a minute. And you're just like, oh, damn.
Yeah, and you can get hurt too. People don't realize you can get hurt so these dudes are all sweaty. They're throwing chairs at each other. It's not like you're playing catch with a baseball and you have a glove, or you're throwing a football. They're throwing a chair. They're throwing it pretty freaking hard, and if it'll glance off their head, a fan's taking a chair shot too. So, like, and yeah.
It's funny you say that, because there's at the ALW, there's no barrier, there's no barricade. In the front row of the chairs are probably only 8 to 10 feet away from the ring. And the same exact family always sit in those, like, in like the 8 chairs in the middle. And a wrestler will like climb out of the ring and just kind of like be holding their jaw. And then the other guy in the ring will go to the back ropes, like running the ropes, come off of them, and starts running towards the other side of the ropes, because they're going to jump over him and dive on this guy. Yeah. And these people, in the 4 shows I've seen, cannot put 2 and 2 together to get the F out of the way. And it happens every single time. And it got to the point where I think one of the wrestlers got kind of fed up with it, because they couldn't follow through with what they were doing, and because these people wouldn't get out of the way. So the guy was like, dives over the top ropes, and then the guy on the outside just kind of like catches him and then like body slams him or something. And one wrestler one night, he was like on his knees on the ground, and the other wrestler decked him, and he just like turned around and just like laid his face in this woman's lap. And I think that was like a sign of frustration. Like, if you're not going to get out of my way and let me do what I need to do, then we're just going to lay it all out here then.
Yeah, you at least got to catch them or help brace them. That that was part of the fun of going to an ECW show. I guess the fan interaction, and also being able to bring your own weapons to the arena was also a plus. And if they used one of yours, then it's a game use.
ECW, man, that was a whole breed of his. I mean, yeah. Like, if you wanted to see somebody get like shredded with a
Cheese
grater.
grater. Yeah, cheese grater.
Yeah, or set on fire, or like have
Mhm.
fireworks thrown at them. Then that was ECW was what you watched. And I mean, it was like if you didn't see somebody bleed, you were just kind of like, did they get like did they sign like a censorship form, or like what happened to
Yeah,
ECW?
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, there was that one match, New Jack, the mass transit incident. He almost killed that kid. Rest in peace, New Jack. He passed away 2 months ago, I believe.
Yep.
But yeah, I forget what weapons I got to see him. Of course, you know the kendo stick. I
Yeah.
think got ripped open with a fork. Uh, and then usually, you know, the chair shots because they didn't do it. There's a way to hit somebody with a chair where you won't do as much damage, and they kind of really didn't care. And then, Sandman, you know, busting his head open with the beers. He did. I did. You know, when he spit the beer into the crowd, I got a piece of that. I wish I still had my Sandman shirt. I don't know where it's at, but
You know, I was watching Ring of Honor at work the other day, and he came out, and I was just, how is this dude still living?
yeah. If
Him or Mick Foley, I don't understand how they're
yeah,
alive.
I say this jokingly. If there's a wrestler that should not be alive after all they've done, Sandman and probably Sabu, because
Yeah,
yeah, I'd seen
yeah.
that match where the barbed wire match where he ripped open his bicep with the barbed wire match, and then yeah, his like the tendon was hanging out, and he just wrapped it up and kept wrestling. It was yeah.
And the thing is, people don't understand. Yeah, a lot of the moves are called either before the match or in the ring, like hey, set up for a whatever, or hey, come out with a whatever, and that stuff you can absolutely predict, but you can't. I mean, the margin of error is so slim.
Yeah.
Like Owen Hart, Stone Cold fought. He did a tombstone, or Owen Hart did a tombstone to Stone Cold. And if you look at the video and you look at it in slow motion, you can see Stone Cold's head like that far below Owen Hart's ass, basically, because he didn't go to his knees. He kind of like sat down,
Mm.
and when he did, Stone Cold's head basically just like crushed into his spine, and he literally bruised his spinal cord. And if you go back and look at the match after he does that, Owen Hart's like standing up arguing with the ref, and he's literally like crawling on his wrist because his hands won't work. And then he just kind of like grabs Owen Hart and like rolls him up and gets the win or whatever. But he literally bruised his spinal cord.
Well, you have Darren Drozdoff, Draws. He
Yeah,
the former Denver Bronco. He was wrestling D'Lo Brown, and D'Lo Brown he dropped him a little, like a millisecond or something too soon. Broke Draws' neck. He's a quadra. He's a quadriplegic. So he's in one of the wheelchairs that you have to blow and to make it move and everything.
yeah.
And if you've watched what is it? It's the one wrestling documentary, Beyond the Mat or something like that. Draws is featured in a few episodes. I think it's the one about Owen Hart though. But yeah.
I got you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The series. I think I can't remember what channel it comes on. I want to say it's A&E or Vice.
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Ring.
That's
Those,
it. Dark Side of the Ring. Yeah.
oh yeah, those are. Oh my God, those are wild. The one I've only seen two. The one about Chris Benoit and the one about Brian Pillman, and they are just
Mm.
they are wild.
Yeah. Yeah, they have 2 seasons. They're supposed to be working on a season 3, but yeah, there's a lot of good ones. But anyway, I need to start packing. I don't think Josh is going to make it. And then next week we will be back with our regular Sunday show, and hopefully I have a lot of cool stories to talk about from Texas. Besides
Some cool shit to show as well.
the what?
Some cool shit to show us as well.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Other than like barbecue stains. on my white T-shirt. So yeah, yeah. But fingers crossed. People sign autographs. I don't know what's going to happen. I guess the Delta and the Lambda variant of COVID, and people are starting to mask up again. So I don't know if we could roll into Texas and autographs aren't allowed, and I don't know.
I
So
guess we'll get to take in a really good ball game or two.
we'll just hang out at the pool. So,
Yeah.
well, there is a pool. There is a pool at the field in Round Rock in right field. So I'll let the kiddo hang out in the pool, man.
There you go. That works.
So thanks everyone for tuning in. I know it's not our usual night, so everybody that did view, I greatly appreciate it. I am going to start scouring the internet for that illegal stream. There should be maybe 2, maybe 3 more fights before the McGregor fight. So fingers crossed I can watch that.
Go for P, the letter P, P2 for P, 4, and then P2P4U.com. There may or may not be a link there for
a fight cool.
You can watch without paying for.
Awesome. That's my favorite. Do you have anything that you want to plug?
No, still working on the autograph signing. We've got all the stuff we need. We just need an athlete. But, with it being my first one, and the guy that has started doing them in Georgia, with him being pretty new, people are kind of a little weary of it, rightfully so. So be on the lookout for that. Once we get the player name, we'll definitely start promoting it.
Cool. Oh, I did. So the NIL athletes, name, image, and likeness. I bought an autographed baseball card of the first college player to make his own baseball cards. So Tanner Allen, he plays for Mississippi State, this year's College World Series champs.
Yep.
He has released his own baseball cards. You can buy an unsigned one for $5, or you can buy a signed one for $20. Is it worth $20? I don't know, but it's a part of history. He's the first athlete to do this. So, and he has some pretty sweet T-shirts. I'm not a Mississippi State fan, and maybe if he gets drafted to a team that I cheer for, like say for some reason the Orioles take him, then I'll probably buy one of his shirts because it's pretty cool. Because he's a senior this year, so draft eligible. I think he's ranked like the 135th overall prospect, which it's not bad, not great, but still not bad. He's going to get drafted. Will he make the bigs? I don't know, but it's a pretty cool thing. So, and part of the proceeds go to like one of Mississippi State's charities. So TannerAllen5.com is his website if you want to check that out. So he has an infinite supply of the signed cards, but then he also released like parallels and everything, and those have already sold out. So yeah, hopefully after I get back from Texas, I can show that off.
Definitely.
So that'll be one of the cool things. So we'll see how that goes. And then, just check out Trump City Graphs on Twitter. I'll be trying to take a lot of photos of everything that we're doing, checking out the ballparks and everything, because I have not been to the Dell Diamond in Round Rock, but I have been to, I think it's called Southwest University Park in El Paso, and that's a pretty sweet stadium. So I'll try and take a bunch of photos and post everything. So yeah, but other than that, I got nothing, dude. So see you on Sunday.
Next Sunday it is.
All right, man. Take care, and thanks.